Welcome back to another video on schema markups and structured data. We've learned a lot in the last few lessons, and this video is going to be no different. It's a lot of information being thrown out to you, so make sure you take your time to digest all the contents because it takes some time to understand everything, right? You might need to watch the video a few times and understand what's going on. So we were checking out all the different schema markups, trying to see how to add these additional details on your content, right? How to provide search engines, Google, special and extra information. So in the last few years, what Google has done is they've started putting these rich snippets, right? They're putting more information. And as part of marketers, as part of online marketer, I'm very curious and I want to see how these have been implemented because the instruction that Google provides are not always clear. SEO is sometimes very white, sometimes very gray, and there's a lot of things in the middle. So we're trying to see what works, what doesn't work. And the star ratings things are really cool. Like it depends on a lot of things, right? And sometimes you don't know why a certain thing has been implemented, why a certain thing is showing or not. And we need to reverse engineer and then check the featured snippets. So that's what we're going to try to do in this video, right? So let's say I have a service business, and let's say I have a digital marketing agency, and I have a website, right? And I want to implement something similar. This is local Google My Business listing. This is called the map pack, right? So you see 3 listings or 4 sometimes, and then it's relevant because it's showing location-based results. So these are all the SEO agencies in Bangkok. You can see why they're ranked. Most probably it's because of the number of star ratings. So 70, 20, 52, 29. That's fine. Now I want to go furthermore, and I want to see how come they're getting 37,000 votes. Why is this one only getting 257 votes, right? Let's try to dissect this information. Let's try to see how they're implementing it, because at some point of time, Google stopped giving away review ratings and stars to local businesses because people were exploiting it, especially SEO agencies like over here, right? Because they know how to do a lot of things on the website, and they're gonna go play the game of cat and mouse with Google, trying to implement these rich snippets. So we're going to look at relevant audience. We're going to look at primal. I have not done any research before. So what you're seeing right now is going to be real-time quick checks to see how those are implemented. So first thing first, let's look at relevant audience, right? They seem to have 37,000 people who voted them and given them a 5 rating, like 5-star rating. So let's run a test on their page and see what data do they have. All right, this should be loaded. So let's see, it says web. So there's 2 web page, right? Cool, that's fine. It has local business markup, and that's where they're coming from. So if you look at it, they mentioned the local business, and then there is a brand of a product, right? And it says the product name is SEO service in Bangkok, and they gave an aggregate rating of 4.96 with a rating count. So this is implemented manually. If you click over here in this schema.org tool, it's pretty neat. It actually gives you the code. So what code has been used, right? So they just gave their own code. So they just said, oh, it's 37,000, rating value 4.96 on average. So that's how this showed up, right? If you go to the other rich test result, it'll also show you the same data and actually tell you how they've implemented the schema markup. So it's kind of shady. They've used the local business schema, but they've kind of modified the code in their own way, where they've added a brand in there and put in a product type, and the product type is the name of the service, SEO service, and then they gave an aggregate rating with a average value of 4.96 and the number of rating and review count of that much, right? So that's where that star rating is coming from. So for this one, it's not loading at all. It's normal. Google sometimes does it. It's loading so much data, most probably, that it's hard to process for them. So if you encounter this issue, it's fine. You try to do it again in a later time or whenever, even immediately, that's fine. You try to see if it works. So now you know how relevant audience implemented their markup. Let's also look at their competitor Primal and see if they're using the same method to implement it, right? So let's go to new test, run test. see if something changed here. Nope. All right. Now, these guys are even sneakier. So the earlier people were using local business where they had reviews coming over from here. They also have it, but they also have a product. So there's actually two different things they are doing primal, right? That's why I say SEO agencies are the sneakiest of the bunch, because they will try to go every possible way to see how can they get the feature snippet. Some of them get it, some of them don't. It's all up to Google. So they're doing two things. They're doing a local business, and they are getting that local business schema markup over here. So they're also saying we have a rating value of 4.88, right? And then so rating value 4.88, best rating 5. So you can also give a scale. Is it best out of 10? Is it best out of 5, or how much it is? And then so they said out of 5 we got 4.88. If it's out of 10 you can give like 9 or whatever, right? And then the rating count, they said 257 on aggregate rating. So they're getting this star rating because you see it's 257. It's coming from their local business schema markup. They're so sneaky and smart that they know sometimes this might not work, so they also use a product schema, and the product schema says rating 5 out of 5, right? Sorry, best rating 5, rating value 5, so they give 5 out of 5. They also said the worst rating can be 1, but they gave 5 out of 5. Who gave it? It says marketing manager at Thai company, right? So it's just so sneaky, right? It's super sneaky. Nothing against them. It's great. It's a hustle. I understand they do it. Whatever gets the special snippet, I understand. But you see, it's being done in two ways, right? So it's up to you if you want to implement it this way. It's pretty straightforward. What you do is, if you're actually reverse engineering feature snippet, right? You go over here, put the URL, you see how they've done it, and you go to your schema if you want to do it on a page level or a global basis, and that's what you do. Now, I'm actually gonna reverse engineer and show feature snippets on an even crazier level, as in dynamically, right? I promised this earlier and I've not done it yet. So this video was kind of checking and validating as well. I'll create a simple video to check and validate schema structured data, next one as well. But this was to reverse engineer, right? So I said, hey, if I have apps and plugin reviews, right? I was looking at all these apps and plugin reviews, and there's a lot of people who do plugin reviews. How do they implement it, So let's say I do AdSanity plugin review, right? Boom. You see, this is EZWP's content. EZWP is one of the companies underneath the WP beginner network, I guess. I'm not sure. But the second listing is for me, which is marketing with WP, and you can see there is a star rating, there is my name, and then there's the price, right? So I was like, hey, I want to increase my affiliate income. How do I add schema markups to my content so that when it ranks on Google, first of all, it's dynamic. Second of all, it looks nice, and then it's trustable, clickable, it's easier, right? So I said, okay, let's reverse hack. And I saw a few of these review posts and independent reviewers doing that. So what I did was, let's say I go to copy link address, right? We're gonna put our own website to the test and see how we're doing it. Okay. So you see there's two things, right? First of all, from the previous video, we put in the article schema. So you see the article schema over here. It tells you everything about the content, when it was published first, when it was modified, updated, right? Who's the author, what's the organization, all of that's coming already over here. Now, the reason why it's getting the reason why it's getting this 5-star rating is because there's another schema put in, and it's a software application schema combined with a review schema, right? And I would also like to check over here just to show you what's going on. Let's test it. For some reason, this tool is always lagging. I wouldn't blame my website or other people's website. It's usually Google's results test that's always lagging. So here, it says it's a software application. It's the name is AdSanity, operating system WordPress plugin. This is a review, right? So I put in review. What's the value? 5. Who's the person? Me. It's an offer, as in how much are they selling the plugin for? The starting price is $49, right? So I did all this research. My content team did all the research, and we Google Sheet and database of all this information, so we try to update as much as possible. So we have all this information, and on our website backend, the way our website is designed, we have custom post types and custom fields to plug in all this information, right? So it's a dynamic website. How does it look on the front end? I do need to show you how it looks on the front end. So this was a plugin, right? And the plugin was at Sanity. Let's go to plugins, post type. I guess at Sanity is not here. There you go. So at Sanity is here. What is at Sanity? Right, simplified ad management WordPress plugin. The price is $49. What else showed up here? Anything else? Nope. The reviewer and the price, right? So here's how it looks on the front end. It's a complete review. There's a pro and con over here. Then there is features, there's pricing, there's discount coupons if it is available, there's alternatives, and there's a conclusion, right? But this is what you see in the front end, right? What available information is on the back end might be completely different, because it's using that information to feed the schema markups as well. Okay, so the price is dynamic. This is dynamic because if you were to check out another plugin, let's say we're looking at SEO Press itself, the template is the same, right? So it has got title, the subheading, the reviews, everything. Same thing over here, but you see these are dynamics. 49, 39, plugin tagline, dynamic name. Am I creating new layout every time? No. I'm using dynamic website, and I use this with Blocksy, Cadence, and Stackable. That's gonna be a completely different tutorial if you want to learn how to create affiliate marketing websites. That's gonna be completely different. But I'm gonna show you how I implement these structured data on the plugin reviews, right? So this is the front end. On the back end, it's pretty straightforward. So all this content, but see, there's a custom field, and again, I'm using Jet Engine to create custom post types and custom fields. So this is a tagline custom field, a referral link custom field. Referral link, as in if someone clicks here, these links are also dynamic, right? Every time it changes automatically. So that's links, and then there's aggregate rating. What's the rating I give, right? Overall rating out of 5. What's the starting price? If I change this, everything changes on the front end as well as on the on the schema markup itself as well. And then I give it ease of use rating, support rating, value rating. I give this so that it changes over here. So 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, because I really love this plugin, to be honest. This is a very good plugin. I use it for Google AdSense websites to show and limit the ad dimensions and spaces, so it's dynamic every time. I don't need to worry about it, right? So I really like this plugin. That's why I reviewed it, and I also use it. That's why I reviewed it. So there's a lot of things going on, but you see there's core information that is, there's a starting price, there's aggregate rating, right? And it's got author and everything. Now, how do I create a schema markup? Sorry, this video is turning out longer than expected. But you see here, we had a blog post schema. I created another review schema. So what I did initially was I checked out what other online reviewers were using, right? I did a plugin review, or I did a tool review, and I tried to see who had another star rating, right? And then I reversed hack their plugin implementation, their software tool implementation, to do it myself, right? And I found the easiest way to do was do a software application review. So it was a schema and it was a plugin. So I said post type is equal to plugins, right? And I'm gonna put in a software application review because it indexes and Google shows it. So I did that, and I again filled up and I matched all the field types. So software name, operating system, manually, WordPress, because here it's not a dynamic value that I need to put in, right? I know that all these are plugins, so I put in plugin, WordPress plugin. But what is dynamic? The price of your app is dynamic. I put in the price, starting price, plugin starting price. What currency it is, since all the currency is usually USD for plugins, I put in USD manually. What's the rating? This is dynamic, and it's getting that plugin aggregate rating, right? So If you want to show max best rating, but your scale is not 5, 10, 20, whatever, then you can mention it. But since my scale is out of 5, I put none over here because 5 is the most default one. So this was done, updated, published, boom. All of a sudden, once it's updated and published, every time I create a post and I have all this information filled up in terms of the price, the rating, right? It automatically creates a schema markup every time I add a post now. So that's how it happens, right? It takes that post name. This is manually done, but on a bulk level anyway. You saw it. And what type of thing is this? It's a review, right? So we put it over here, and then it's a post title, product title. It's a software application, but review type, right? And that's why it's over there. There's a rating, which I gave was 5, and the person who's the author mapped me, and that's how all this information comes up. And this, in return, results to this on search when it's indexed, right? So you could really get creative and put a lot of other information, not just on here only. I taught you earlier in title and description, you could put that dynamic values over here or here. So in terms of schemas implementation, it's very feature rich, right? Because you could do anything. Now the even crazier part is you could also create your own custom, right? And then you could have manual custom that you do, or a custom, and it's a generic one. It's put on all pages, right? But if you want to have a specific one, then you can map those fields and stuff like that as well, right? So I'm not gonna make any changes over here. I'm gonna refresh the page because I want to maintain my plugin review schema, but you can see what has happened, right? So it's getting all this value dynamically, and I don't need to make a new post and create a schema every time. It just does it automatically. It already says that I have 2 schemas, plugin and blog post, already done dynamically, right? So it just saves me headache, it saves me time and everything else. So now you know how to do it. If you find something with rich snippets or whatever, you copy the link, go to this, you put it in, you'll get a result, and then you know how it's been implemented. And that's what you try to do and see if it's implemented, right? So if I was one of the digital agencies that does not have a schema markup yet, and I want to show something crazy like 37,000 votes, I would check and do something similar. I might even put 37,246 votes just for the sake of it. Doesn't matter, but that's just an idea, right? But yeah, so just one thing to cover again extra is, so this one just shows the markup, but the rich test result, which is now here, shows if it's gonna show up or not, right? If you're looking at star ratings and stuff, it'll tell you what is valid, what is not valid. So review snippets, it says is one valid item detected. That's why it shows the review snippets. If I go back, if I look at software apps, I bet there's something missing. It says missing aggregate rating optional, right? So that's an optional field. That's why it's not there. But I could create a new field called aggregate rating and also put it there, and it might be many votes, but instead I'm doing a single review, and that's why I want to put it as one. It's a non-critical issue. That's why Google still shows my review snippet, but if it's critical and mandatory and I don't have it filled up, it's not going to show up. So make sure you are using these 2 tools, the rich snippet results and the schema markup, to test all your schema applications, right?